Oh, hey, we're live. Hello
Are we
there.
live? All right.
Yes, welcome back to the at SWTVC YouTube channel for yet another live stream. Oh my God, are we going to set records? We did one last week or the week before. I can't keep track. Anyway, I'm Evan from the at SWTVC team, or as you may know me on Instagram, at Mile High Ground. I'm joined by my teammates Tyler and Lewis at SW Collector 3.75 and at Space Hut, respectively, and our special guest, the esteemed Tim from Bosk's Bounty. If you don't know who he is, why are you here? Just kidding. I hope you love all of us. Anyway. I'm not going to be host proper, but boy, oh boy, I hear we have stuff to talk about. And Tyler, you were the brainchild behind this stream taking place today. So I'm going to let you mostly drive this. But yeah, there's maybe some things to be kind of excited about that we're talking about this weekend, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody is feeling pretty good about the vintage collection right now. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
I feel like I've got a bit of a hangover from a really good party yesterday, to be honest, because I went like everyone else, went to bed quite late because we were sort of so much hype going on, watching everything else, and I've kind of woken up this morning feeling a bit like I've had a good time, and yeah, kind of I don't want it to end.
Well, ask boss to tell him.
I'll just get too bashful. I don't like it. No, yeah, you're right, Lewis. It does feel like a bit of a hangover. Also, because I was up until like God knows what time doing my content and whatever for it. It's a late one for us in the UK. But yeah, I felt like it's, I think the May the 4th didn't go so great for TVC. Maybe celebration. This felt like celebration again. It was like an awesome stream or panel or whatever with some really good looking figures that we knew about that were in the pipeline, and obviously if it's the ghost was finally shown. So yeah, we can all stop that charade now, or charade, however you want to say it.
That was the worst kept secret maybe in collecting history.
Or was it deliberate? Who knows?
Yeah, I
price
wondered
was a good
about
secret.
that.
Yeah, well, so can we talk about the price? Or
I don't know. Can we?
We don't want to talk about. I don't know. Are we allowed to talk about that? But
we can do whatever the hell we want. Maybe.
I mean, okay. So there were obviously rumors floating around that this was going to cost $600, and it doesn't. It costs $500, and I think that probably what they did was that they reduced the cost, but probably increased the minimum amount of backers that are needed. By playing around with that a little bit, it makes it more appetizing potentially to people, because that $100 could be the difference between make or break for some people. So I think that was a really smart move. If it was originally supposed to be $600, that's a smart move, I think. And we're looking at it now. Oh, go ahead.
I was definitely surprised by the price, because obviously I don't know where those rumors came from. It's like, this is going to be I don't know whether it's like this is going to be the biggest HasLab ever, but I'm sure somebody said somewhere
I'm
this is going to be the
pretty
most expensive HasLab ever as well. I don't know where that came from.
I'm pretty sure Yakface dropped a figure.
Right.
I'm sure.
Well, that may have been, it may have been, because obviously they play around with these things, as Tyler said. At one point it might have had lights and sounds or something, and maybe because I think that was a question that Miko put to the team yesterday about lights and sounds and things like that. So you never know, really, do you? But in terms of the UK price, no one likes dropping. What is it? Is it $499 for us?
$499. Yeah.
Nobody likes dropping £500 on essentially what is a toy, collectible, whatever you want to call it. But when you put it in context with everything else, the Millennium Falcon for us was $399, I think.
Yeah.
So and that's a repaint, as it were. So they've already done the tooling for it and what have you. So for something that's all new, with the figures and everything, if it hits the goals, then I don't want to say it's value, but I'm comfortable with it, basically.
I do want to say real quick with like the Falcon, I was thinking about it, where it's like, it was 390, so it was 400 here, so it's $100 less than the Ghost. And it had electronics, of course, but then it had the update. The electronics were a little updated or whatever to sorry, to be different. But what was it that during the Facebook group Q&A with Patrick and Chris, they mentioned something that I really liked, where it was lights and sounds are a moment, whereas the details are forever. So
Coin that
Yeah,
one. That was a good phrase.
people ask me like, what do I want lights and sounds in my, and they're cool, but like if I was a kid, then yes, brilliant, I'd love all that stuff. But most of the time, my stuff is being displayed. I'm not really sort of going around pressing buttons on it and stuff like that. Some lights occasionally might look cool on engines and things, maybe. Not really too concerned about sounds, to be honest. But
I could go for lights in my mind is because of like, people who do photography. And, if they're going to have the ghost, parked, landed somewhere in the background of their shot and it's got lights on, that would be helpful. But I mean, you can edit that stuff in though. So, whatever.
It's not a deal breaker for me at all. I mean,
no.
I took the batteries out of my Falcon, I think, after the first day or two of having it, because I just kind of paranoid about batteries leaking in, in vehicles anyway. And so, again, having played around with it when you first set it up, you take it out and you don't use it again. So that's exactly what they were getting at when they said, it's there for a moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody's just put in the comments about how much is it in Mexico, and I did want to sort of discuss this about international buyers, because obviously when the Crest came out, we didn't even have Hasbro Pulse in the UK. It's sold through Zavvi across Europe and whatever, and then even like Aussies had Zing Pop Culture and other places had other things. And I'm just wondering if anyone is in the comments that can confirm whether it is available outside of Europe and America, basically, or North America, basically, because it would be a shame if, they get Hasbro Pulse sorted in the UK and then open it to EU and then think that's enough and then forget about international buyers. That'd be a bit disappointing in my opinion. So if anyone can confirm whether that has or not, and then if they haven't, then maybe one of us guys can maybe get hold of Hasbro to ask the question,
Yeah, definitely. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I saw a number of people this morning asking from an Australia kind of perspective, does anyone know where we can get this?
Right.
So those guys, up until say when I was on Instagram this morning, didn't seem to have a clue on how they could pick it up. So
I wonder, does Zavvi ship to Australia?
I think they did with the Crest. I think they did, but
so I feel did Zavvi jump on board before it was funded? Because I'm wondering if once we cross the funded finish line, if that opens it up to like certain, retailers.
No, they were there from day one.
Yeah,
with the
day
Crest,
one.
we backed from day one, but it was just via Zavvi for some strange. It's just
because there was always that thing, wasn't it, about the Zavvi numbers? When they added those numbers to the total, and then you suddenly saw the total jump quite significantly.
Yeah.
Didn't they do that for the obviously smash success ranker campaign as well? That they were like, oh yeah, they'll figure in the international numbers and that'll get it over the top. It didn't. So
we was already using Pulse over here by then. So I mean, perhaps some parts of Europe were still using Zavvi or something like that. But I would have thought that those numbers were factored in more as it went, as this one will be now. So I don't think we'll see those jumps in the same way.
Okay. Cool.
Man, I'm reading some of these comments.
I was talking to someone in New Zealand last night, and they were saying that it was EB Games or something, and a place called Mighty Ape they provided it for folks in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I guess he's holding out, hoping that they do the same again for the Ghost. But
exactly. I don't see any reason why they can't. Because if they did it for the Crest, they can do it for the Ghost. Just because, they've got a massive market now themselves in the EU and UK. They shouldn't really forget about everyone else, really. Because I know how frustrated I was when I couldn't get the barge. It's very difficult for me to get the barge. I had to wait on eBay for them to put like 400 units on eBay, and it's stressful trying to get one of them things. So I can't, and obviously it helps the number, doesn't it? So
totally. Yeah.
Just real quick to bring it back to electronics real quick. When you look at like the Engine of Vengeance, right? which I actually thought was pretty cool as a muscle car enthusiast, but not necessarily a Ghost Rider enthusiast. That was not a very big vehicle. It was kind of small for the asking price, but it did have electronics. And so that kind of goes to show you that, probably including electronics really increases the price quite a bit.
Well,
and so
look at that transformer that dropped a couple of days ago. I mean, that thing's insane. It looks crazy, but it's like what, 1,300, 1,400 quid? You can see why, but that's what happens, isn't it?
Yep. So, the electronics get sacrificed in order to make it somewhat affordable. I mean, I keep seeing comments like, I wish this was more affordable. HasLabs are not supposed to be affordable. That's not the point of HasLabs. The point of HasLabs is to be crazy, big, ambitious, and a dream item. It's not supposed to be something that you can find at Ollie's. Like that's not the point of HasLab. But
it will never be more affordable than it is now. That's the key thing.
That's true.
It's never going to be.
Yeah. Well, should we talk about the thing?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Look at that. Look at that.
What a beauty.
I did like in Miko's interview again that they confirmed that it is based off of its appearance in Ahsoka. So,
yes.
Of course, it's cartoony. Obviously, it's cartoony, or more cartoony in Rebels. But maybe some of that weathering and the paint scheme and what have you. This is, for a lot of people that don't like the cartoon, basically, or don't like animated Star Wars in general, then this is a live action Ghost, basically. Even though the figures are based on the cartoon.
The figures are based on the cartoon. And the figures are based on the cartoon insofar as they are based, like they're from a Rebels card back. And
the costumes and whatever.
The costumes are from the animation, but the likenesses are from the live action reference. Yeah. And I love how they worked with Doug Chiang on the card backs for the mural. That's
the card backs all like linking together are so cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool. That was very creative.
Yeah,
very creative.
Well, I have thoughts. We'll circle back to that later when we're talking about those. Here's the size of the thing.
She's a big girl.
Well, do you know what I love about this as well, though, is one of the criticisms that we gave them for the crest, and I know a lot of people did, was that when that first came out, it was that grey, had no paint apps on it. It was just sort of a grey prototype, and it didn't sell it amazingly, did it? I mean, we knew what it was going to kind of be like, but a lot of people out there were sort of like, well, hold on a minute, is that the finish on it? Have we got to paint it ourselves? There was a lot of confusion about it. And what I love about this is they've just come out and gone, do you know what? We're not going to give you prototypes. We're not going to mess around. We're just going to give you a finished piece. This is it. And I think Chris said
how it should be too.
Almost exactly what it will be. I think Chris said, didn't he? Almost there. But this is it. It's amazing. And I think it shows that they're perhaps a little bit more clued up this time than when they were doing the Crest campaign, because I think we did give them some criticisms on the Crest campaign, but for this one I feel like that they've picked up on some of those criticisms. Again, we criticized for the tiers. They've shown us the tiers. They've shown us their cards, so it's interesting to see how they're running this campaign slightly differently and more positively, I think, from what they did with the crest.
The tiers are wildly different because we're looking at an all new sculpt, an all new tooled figure for every tier, which is dramatically different than here's a Jawa with a kukri knife and an egg that you can split open and a necklace. Like that's a big difference. Don't get me wrong. I love my Elder Jawa, but that's a big difference. So,
real quick, couple things. Hello to Only One Kenobi. Currently, we are 22 backers away from 6,000, which was the backer goal for the crest, and that backed in 26 hours. I think we're at about 24 hours right now, so we might not hit the 8,000 unless a bunch of you go nuts. But we're pretty close to 6,000, which is cool.
Good.
We're about 3/4 done at the 24-hour mark, which is solid.
But of course we want to get to 17K so we get all the stuff. Like that's the goal.
I think that right now it's chugging along trying to just get funded. I think maybe there's a chance it could be funded by Monday. We'll have to see. But once it gets funded and people feel a little bit better about putting their money behind this, even though their money wouldn't be taken anyway, but a lot of people feel like I'm not putting my money into this until it's a sure thing, right? So once it crosses that backed line, I think that's when we start taking off, surging through the tiers.
Well, also that FOMO kicks in, doesn't it? Because people go, "Oh, this thing's getting made now. You know, I can't miss out on it." I think there's sometimes those people who sit on the fence at this point and go, "Well, you know what? If it don't get backed,
they're the people who hurt the campaign."
Yeah, no, they totally do. I'm not saying it's right, but I think that's the if you get it over that first backer line, then people do. Well, we saw it with Crest. People start to pile on, don't they?
Yes.
Real quick. Sorry,
I'm feeling confident about it, but
yeah, I'm feeling more confident than I was beforehand. So this Wonder if the Phantom One, no, they've mentioned in the Q&As lately that no, it doesn't. But the Phantom One they released in the 5 POA line does scale properly with the rest of it. So
what a waste! What a waste of money.
Yeah. Whoops. Good thing
it'll still cool. It'll look cool on the shelf next to it, though.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly.
One more thing here. Yes, but not to say this is, I'm going to sound like a total shill here, but if you get Hasbro Pulse Premium, that's $50 as opposed to the $52 for shipping. And you get the added benefit of having free shipping on everything you order for the next year. So money, please, Hasbro, give me some. I just promoted you for free. But yeah, so
wouldn't the box be loads bigger and loads heavier as well for the Ghost compared to a couple of doors and a dinosaur? No, I'm just
yeah.
I don't know.
But also the shipping goes up with the more Ghosts you order. So if you back two, you're paying like $100 some in shipping, whereas you could have just paid $50.
If you're gonna buy more than one Ghost, it's absolutely worth it to get Pulse. But it's not retroactive, so you got to get the premium membership first and then make the purchases. It's not retroactive, so just everybody keep that in mind.
And that applies if you then go and pick up your army builders or any of those that are exclusive to Pulse anyway. Again, you're going to get all the free shipping on all of those. So I'm not one that says rush out and go and get Pulse Premium, but you can see the benefits here.
Yeah. To the questions about hopefully it doesn't get blown up in Ahsoka. I mean, anything could happen, whatever. But yes, it's in Rise of Skywalker.
Real quick, there was.
Sorry, Tyler, just quickly. That's also a thing about the backing goes into the show, doesn't it? It crosses over like 3 episodes.
We'll have 3 episodes.
So the people that, are umming and ahhing because it is something that's based on animation and that's where it originated from or whatever, once they see it in action in the show and it does some cool things, that might push us up to that 17 mind. If we haven't even got there already. I don't know,
Yep. I was just going to say, Dan Tuine, clever name, asked something about, shame no flight stand.
Yeah.
So I think that if we can clear 17K by a pretty wide margin, maybe around the 20,000 mark or something like that, they could potentially throw in a flight stand that looks the same as the one for the Crest and the N1.
They kind of indicated to John Miko, didn't they, in his Q&A that, we'd give it some thought that there might be something further on if you get that far. They wasn't ruling it out, was they? So I don't think we'd see another figure. So I think a stand would be quite likely.
But we'll have to have that conversation when we clear all the tiers. So you got to back that thing.
But again, with the Crest, people moaned a bit about the tiers. Who needs an escape pod? Who wants what else do we have? We had the stand. People weren't happy with those. People said we want figures. A lot of people saying, I'd rather have another figure, throw another figure in. So again, they're doing that this time round.
So carbonite blocks that should have been included in the first place.
And I think it's again, I hope that they've learned and listened from some of those criticisms we've done, and I feel like they're doing the right things with this. I really do.
Well, they had the clips on the roof, of the Crest, and it was like, so you're telling me that you'd have those clips there, but not have those carbonite blocks if they weren't unlocked? Like, come on. But anyway, that's in the past. It was still a successful campaign, wildly successful campaign. And I do wonder if this one's dragging behind the Crest a little bit because of that price point,
It's more expensive.
It is. And so maybe that's why we're seeing it progress a little bit more slowly this time. I really had hoped, yesterday when we were watching this and it was just the bar was just going up. I was like, oh man, no chance this doesn't fund in 24 hours. But I was up all night because I worked overnight last night and it slowed to a crawl last night. And I was just like, oh, I hope this picks up again in the morning. And it kind of didn't.
We
But it's
were all
still going the
drunk
right
on
way.
hope yesterday. Yeah.
It's still, I mean, although it's slow as anything now, but it is still going up. And that's the key.
We got plenty
thing.
of time.
As long as we've got that growth.
Someone just bought 5.
Nice.
A couple of other things that the Razor Crest had in its favor as well is that it was in a widely popular show at the time.
Yeah.
Very successful. Some people class it as the best thing Disney had done, apart from Rogue One, maybe, or whatever, at the time. And it was, you also had the success of, the secondary market price of the barge. People were thinking, hang on a minute, look how much this is now. I've got to get my one stuff. From people might have bought doubles for investment purposes and whatever. So,
yeah.
Also, Tim, to add to that, I know I was watching Only One Kenobi, Nick's video earlier today about the crest, and he made a really good point that with the crest, it was actually dropped during that time when we were in a pandemic. And so a lot of people had a bit of expendable cash, people sitting at home. Collecting did go through the roof for all sorts of, not just Star Wars, but people were going mad for collecting because they were sitting at home. So again, it was that kind of melting pot of all of these
it's very
things
true.
thrown together that really, it was the right time for it. And I think
the market has softened.
Right there now.
There's no doubt about it. The market's softened, in terms of
and the economy's softened.
Yeah.
So it's I think for where we are now, what the figures we're looking at, the run that it's had up till this, this 24 hours, it's still good. Still good.
Well, like I said to you guys, Lewis and Tyler, that we started SWTVC in that fall of 2020, while the crest, or with the crest campaign sort of thing. That was a huge part of what we first started doing as a team. So like I said to you guys, this feels right that we get to do this again. It's fun. So
yeah.
But it's great. I was thinking about it today when I got up this morning, because I got up quite excited. I mean, I went to bed late like everyone else because I was just watching that tracking going up, and I was just hypnotized by it. I didn't want to go to bed because it was just like, oh look, it's going up still. And then so I jumped out of bed this morning thinking, oh, I see where it is, really hoping it would have backed. But there's a good excitement around these things. And I know people often say, why does a multi-billion-dollar company like Hasbro need to do crowdfunding? And, that aside, it's just good fun. I mean, really, it gets the community together. We're all kind of sitting here discussing this now. Everyone's out on social media, throwing their ideas around and discussing it. And as long as these things stay positive, I think it's a really good thing for the collecting community. And it almost feels, to me, it's almost a bit like, Tim will get this, but when England plays in the World Cup and everyone kind of gets behind them, and you kind of think, come on, and it feels a little bit the same, that everyone in the community just kind of all of a sudden gets behind everything. And it's like, come on, we've got to get this thing over the line. And that's what I like about it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, look at it, man. I was expecting it to be good, but I think they've blown me away with how good it is.
Yeah,
they really have.
I was curious about the crew quarters and the fact that they included those. Like, what?
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah, like the bunks and stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I am so happy with this thing, man. I am, not to threaten anybody with a good time, but man, I'm gonna quit if this thing fails, because like this is wow, dude.
I'm confident. The only question is, are we going to clear all the tiers? But once this thing crosses the 8,000 mark, I think we'll be okay. But
yeah, that's the only thing, by having the crew as the tiers, that they potentially have backed themselves into a little bit of a corner there, because obviously if it gets, if we don't get Zeb, for example, that would be a massive disappointment for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
sure. I'm going to take.
You'd need some sort of assurance that we'd get him further on down the line outside of the campaign.
And I think they would, but who knows?
I would like to think that they've got him lined up all of them lined up anyway for a non-exclusive version. And
Yeah.
it certainly seems when you look at what's packed in with these, Kanan with his extra head, even Ezra with the scout helmet. I can imagine those figures coming out again without those bits. But the question is, as you say, Tim, if we don't back it, then does all of that go away? Does Hasbro sit around the table and say, well, hold on a minute, we were putting all these Rebels figures out here, we haven't now got a ship for them, so brush them off the table, let's look at something else. You just don't know what goes on in that boardroom, do we, to actually know whether or not that's something they would say, no, it's in the main line, it's staying.
And listen to Chris on Miko's interview. He was talking about the face for Zeb, and they'd already got the the images, or they'd seen it before because he's been in Mando, and they've even got that sort of grin. And if that one doesn't get made, then do you get the guy in the flight suit? Will he be in Mando 4 or in anything else in his pilot outfit? And then kind of makes that one difficult, then, doesn't it? So
yeah.
It's and it's like, if they still do make these figures later, even if it's not this exact look, if we back this and they're part of this, that's tooling that doesn't come out of the mainline budget. Like, that's, then later, if we don't, then it's like, if we do want these things, it then has to come at the expense of something else, or I don't know. So sorry, I'm just mesmerized by these photos and the backer counter. I've got it pulled up on my other screen.
You got it. Where are we now? Have we hit 6 yet?
We are.
We're just short.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just wanted to thank. We got about 124 people watching right now, which is great. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's joining us and watching right now. You guys are awesome. We really appreciate it. And just to go back to the question that still, after all this time, that we see, and that's like, why does HasLab as a model need to exist? Why does a multi-billion-dollar corporation need to crowdfund things? Like, I think there's still a lot of people that don't really understand why that's a thing. This is not so much a Hasbro thing as it is a retailer thing. So if you take Target and Walmart, right? They only have so much shelf space for merchandise in their aisles, right? They're not going to take something that's $500 or $600 and put it on their shelf and potentially take a massive loss if this thing doesn't sell for full price, because that's the way this works, right? The retailers, they'll buy product at wholesale prices from Hasbro, and then they turn it around.
Sorry. Good soldiers follow orders.
So they order in wholesale from Hasbro, and then once they get the product from Hasbro, they put it on their shelf and they mark it up by a few dollars, and that's MSRP, and that's where they make their profit from, right? When I say a few dollars, obviously for a vehicle like this, it would be more than a few dollars, but I'm talking about if it was a figure, for example, right? So a big expensive vehicle like this, where they might not be able to make that money back from MSRP to make up the difference to actually make a profit, that's why companies don't want this sort of thing on their shelf anymore. So this is not this should be on shelves. Well, unfortunately, we don't live in 2005 anymore. Target and Walmart doesn't want these things on their shelf. And that's why Hasbro is offering this another way. So really, I'm grateful that this model exists, because otherwise stuff like this would just, it would be a pipe dream. It would never happen.
That's the whole point of it too. It's like, if it fails, then obviously they were right mostly in not making it because it was too much of a risk, whatever. But
it seems vehicles go on clearance quite quickly as well. I think people were picking up the TVC TIE Fighter for like $5.
Yeah.
Someone got me one and sent it to me, paid for the shipping and everything. They got it for me for $5. Yeah. And even the speeder bike, the brand new speeder bike, new sculpt or whatever, it's going to clearance. I mean, a lot of people.
The problem with people is they moan and they cry for vehicles, but then they don't show up to support them.
Yep.
And they moan and cry that, oh, this should cost what it did, 16 years ago or whatever. And it's like, well, it's not 16 years anymore. 16 years ago anymore. The price of things has gone up.
Real quick, just circling back to the having to see things in live action.
Yeah, I saw that. It made me laugh. Has Daniel answered it though? I hadn't seen an answer.
I don't know, man. I'm behind here. I'm having a blast. Thanks everybody that's chatting away. This is fun to follow. This is good. This is good. Y'all rock. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What do we got on these photos? What else we got? God, man, look at that. Cool.
Looks
I want one.
Yes.
I want one.
Yes.
I want one so bad I ordered 4.
So
Can I afford
it's
that?
going to go up here
No.
somewhere for me. One of these 2 gaps, I'm going to have to move those X-Wings out of the way and slide the Ghost in there. I think. I don't know. Should the Falcon be above the Ghost or should the Ghost be above the Falcon? I don't know. What do you think?
Oof.
The Ghost is bigger. It may look better below, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a big old lump. I mean, I think it's good that they've given us some dimensions now, actually, because you can start preparing a little bit, can't you? Like try and make some space. But
Someone earlier I highlighted their comment. They're like, I gotta go furniture shopping.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Yeah.
Brett on Fed.
There's-
I think.
Yeah.
There's no taking off one of the wings like with the crest either.
No.
No, man.
This is it. That's the size.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. A lot of people talked
those-
about that.
Yeah, if
Oh,
anybody
I-
knows
with
that.
1/2.
but I mean, anyone who bought that Falcon, the Galaxy's Edge Falcon, remember how big that box was. I mean, this box is going to be insane.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing didn't go through. I had a door that it wouldn't go through. That Falcon box. It was just insane. But yeah, I don't know.
If
That's
you
gonna be fun when it shows up.
you've got probably 12 to 14 months to make nice with your mail carriers and make sure they like you.
Give him a tip. Yeah.
Yeah. Give them a heads up. Just be like, hey, at a certain point in about a year, maybe something ridiculous and awful is going to show up that you're going to have to
Wear a
struggle
back
with.
brace.
Yeah. But yes, those are the dimensions again. Sorry, I just kind of whipped through these photos. Obviously
Attention to
this is
detail. It's insane, isn't it? I mean, just every single part of that thing has been just thought
And-
about everything.
The other thing too is that like, even though this is from Rebels and not the OT, when you look at the interior of this thing, it's got a very Falcon kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know why so many people are opposed to this. Like, it's not from the OT. I don't want it. I don't
Yeah.
get it. I don't
Because-
get it.
Rebels is so like it takes so much inspiration from like the Macquarie art, a lot of OT
Yes.
concept
Yeah.
art, a lot of visual cues from the OT. Like it is Filoni's kind of love letter to the original trilogy while still
100%.
bridging that gap. So
And
I
what
don't know what to tell
bomber is the Ghost based on? Is it like a B-29? I don't know. I should know this.
I
But
don't
it's
know that.
based on a World
No.
War II bomber. And just like a lot of the things in the original trilogy were sort of inspired by World War II, right? With a lot of the guns and the dog fighting between the X-Wings and the TIE fighters. There's a lot of World War II influence on the OT and in the Ghost. So it's all kind of connected, but
yeah.
some people are just gonna be like, stupid cartoon, I guess.
Look at-
Whatever.
Look at those chairs, man. Like the chairs are all the unique chairs. They got the patches on them from
Amazing.
where they're ripped. God. Yeah, man.
Can you just get to the picture again with the Phantom? Because we can't forget that we're getting the Phantom as well.
Yes.
And that
Yes,
looks
it's
great on its
separate.
own, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a picture with Scott Hera in it, I think, which has got it just sitting out on its own. And I was looking at that earlier today, and just as a ship in its own right, you'd go and buy that.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask, because I didn't quite hear it on the stream. Is that just Chopper's head in there, or is that Chopper?
It's just his
Yes.
head.
Right.
Yeah.
Thought it was.
Yeah.
It does remove though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
So everyone's
Keep it
probably thinking, "Where's Chopper?
There we
Where's
go.
Chopper?"
Yeah, I mean, look at
Yeah.
that. That's if that was in a box on its own, you'd go out and buy that.
Yeah. And that looks to be
Right.
about the size of the Phantom 1. So
Yeah.
I get what they're saying about the scaling is consistent.
I need to go get the Phantom one before it costs $500 on eBay.
Too late, I think. I think it's already up there.
Yeah, I think I missed that boat.
That's why I
but-
bought two on
Crap.
accident a couple weeks ago. So
Damn it.
look at that. That is just a mean looking profile there, man. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, let's talk about what's included with each of the figures real quick.
Well, so
Shall
the only
we?
images I have up are just the carded shots, but
That's fine. That's
yeah.
fine.
So
Let's talk about Hera. You know, I love
In
that
the
she
base
comes with her her Calicori that Thrawn steals from her because
Yeah.
the Black Series got that in their office. Was that an SDCC exclusive?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, man, now we're going to be able to do that scene with our figures too, to a certain extent. We don't have all of the office accessories, but at least we have that one. So that's cool.
Yeah, and again, getting good use of the fruit that they're doing.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, that was a big thing of what was it? Was it season 1 or all seasons? They're always snacking on those things.
It was always, it
Okay,
was throughout,
alright.
really.
I gotta rewatch the show to be honest. But
I started a rewatch and then I kind of fizzled out on it, so I've gone back and restarted my rewatch. And Rebels, and I think I talked about this on the latest episode of the podcast with John, is I remember when it was airing, I found myself frustrated with it quite frequently. And then the finale ended and I was just like, oh yeah, okay, I really like that. And every time I've rewatched it since, I like it more and more and more and more every time I revisit it. It's just
It connects. It's amazing how it connects a lot of things.
And
Like
I'll
Rebels-
repeat myself
Rebels-
again. It's the
Rebels is
basis
quite
for all the
intentional.
live action stuff that we've got right now.
Yeah.
So
And it just, I know a lot of people kind of say the animation stuff is for kids or it's not. And it did start off that way.
Because
a little
toys
bit.
aren't.
It was a little bit childish, it wasn't quite, young Jedi. Yeah, exactly, Evan. It wasn't quite that kind of like toddler age, but it really gets quite dark, as it moves on, doesn't it? And it gets, the sort of the Obi-Wan stuff and the Maul stuff and some of the best Star Wars there is, and that is all OT, really. I know people sort of say, I'm only OT, but it's all.
I love it for the fact that it is so close to the OT. I mean, if you look at the Star Destroyer, the animation of the Star Destroyers is incredible. They, the level of detail. Sometimes you don't realize it's like the Clone Wars as well. If you watch the Clone Wars and then watch the Attack of the Clones, sometimes you probably would be able to tell the difference. Like when the clones are there, man. It's like that. Like with Rebels, sometimes some of the space battles are so well done.
100%.
Well, do we want to jump to tier unlock number 1?
Go for it.
I just say about Hera. I'm just about to say Hera. I mean, she'd look quite good with a brown.
Yeah, that'd be an easy
flight jacket.
reuse in the main line because they said that this specific look for Hera, like this outfit from Rebels, is exclusive only to the Ghost. So that's, of course, there's probably likely other versions that will be made later, especially if they have the tooling here. That's awesome. But this will be the chance to get this version of this costume.
Her bottom half doesn't really change a lot, does it, throughout the whole seasons? So it's that top piece. I think her neckline and there's a few bits around there that change. And as Tim said, in the live action, she's obviously got a different jacket. But I can see that with some minor tooling, they could probably change that.
Yep. Smart reuse. Always advocate for that. Of the new stuff. Yeah, of new things. Yeah. All right. Tier unlock number 1, Ezra Bridger.
Looks great.
Yep. Yep, lit and unlit lightsaber, which is something I'd like to see them be consistent with on their lightsaber wielders. I know we still don't have Ahsoka's unlit lightsabers, and we're
So that's season 4, isn't it? He's got his hair cut.
Sort of 3 and 4, it's kind of rolls over.
Did he not have his blaster saber at that point? Because
it got crushed by Vader, didn't it?
Right,
or something like that.
Yeah,
didn't Vader destroy it?
I started to rewatch it the other day. Because I have only seen it like once all the way through when it first aired, and then because of this, I thought, and Ahsoka coming up, I thought I'd better rewatch it, but I hadn't got to that bit yet. So
yeah, I think it's gone by season 3. I think it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. He has the green lightsaber in the first episode of season 3 because there was a little bit of a time jump there after Malachor.
Yeah.
So
man, Maybe it wasn't Vader that did it. I can't remember. It got destroyed somehow. Yeah, okay. It was destroyed with Vader. All right.
Yes, and then so we've got his lightsaber, which we see with another character later. However, there is a difference. The character who has his lightsaber in the show has made modifications. So, lightsaber nerds out there, rejoice! More things to look for. And then this is based off of the live action reference, of course, as we've gone over. Is this the same sculpt of the Lothcat that is with the mainline Sabine that's coming later?
I didn't look closely enough.
No,
Obviously, they're different.
no,
they're different paint jobs, aren't they?
Yeah,
But
they're different.
I didn't look at I didn't look closely enough at the sculpt, to be honest.
The amount that I've stared at all these photos, and it's just like I'm so excited again, drunk with hype, that I'm looking at everything, and then every time I look at the photos again, it's the first time I'm seeing it. It's wonderful.
We've had so much to absorb over the last sort of 24 hours, haven't we? I think there's just so much to take in that it's things like that. You think, I haven't looked at that yet. But because even with, I was sort of trying to look at some of these, to try and see how different they were from some of their other appearances, and you kind of need to spend quite a lot of time sitting there going through them, to be fair. But Ezra's a difficult one, I guess, because he changes in size, doesn't he, between season 1, 2, and 3 and 4. So I do wonder how much reuse they'll get out of him. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Did they say anything about the? I'm sure, of course, the accessories are probably what's going to be the stuff that maintains exclusivity to the set. When they inevitably reuse or leverage parts from these figures
and the cards, obviously,
the main line, and the cards, of course. So we're essentially getting excited for little plastic pieces and little plastic bits and cardboard.
So this is what's interesting, though. So as an opener, I will obviously open these. And I don't care, because I know people go, "What is it?" I will open them because I want those accessories.
Yeah.
What of all 5 of your ghosts?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's break 5, not me. I haven't break 5. But yeah. But obviously there are going to be a lot of people that are going to keep them on cards. So you kind of got all these extra accessories that you're just never going to get the benefit of, really, because you've got them locked on your card. So you have to buy 2. So if you haven't bought 2 yet, go out and buy another one.
Yep.
Not that I have yet.
I back 2, yeah. I mean, you can always cancel it later. Like if you back 5,
if everyone does that, that could be a problem.
Yeah, let's not float that idea.
All right. Do you, boo-boos?
I would definitely be opening a set.
Yeah,
it's like with the Jawa and the Yoda, baby Yoda, Grogu, or whatever.
Yeah.
I never felt the need for me to open those, because they were just pretty much the same figures with different, slightly.
No, I did.
Or whatever.
I wanted that necklace and the egg.
But with these, I definitely will open a set of these.
Yeah, I'll have to sort through my 4 sets and find out which ones I want to open. Guys, I need to get back in touch with my therapist.
That's what we're here for, Evan.
Yeah, this is my therapy. Thanks, everybody.
Therapy, yeah.
Talking it through. All right, the next tier after Ezra is Kanan Jarrus, Jedi Knight. John's not here to do the Bendu.
Jarrus, Jedi Knight.
Bendu thing. Yes, the Padawan formerly known as Doom. Guys, this is the one that I'm hyped for the most. And let's mention the fact that all of these characters, once again, do very well for themselves in the March Madness stuff and in wish lists and all of the top 25 gathering that we do. They are oft requested, so it's not from nothing, man. So
he was top 5 of my top 25 and has been, I think, for a couple of years.
I think he was the only Rebels member I kept in my top 25 because I had a feeling all the rest are more likely, for reasons I don't want to spoil for those of you who don't watch Rebels, but whatever. He was the least likely to come. So seeing him in this, made me very happy, especially with the alternate head sculpt from season 4. Some huge moments there. And he gets the cool mask for his blind master look. Like, come on,
We
man.
just passed 6,000.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So at about 24 hours, right?
Which is better than the crest. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. 6,002 backers.
I've got to admit that I didn't have any of the Rebels characters in my top 25, but there was it's not because I don't want them, it's because you know, I felt that, let's just say this HasLab didn't exist,
Yeah.
right? We'd be drip fed these figures
like the Bad Batch. Yep.
And I don't want a Kanan or a Hera when I haven't got the others for 3 years. I would not want that.
Yeah, Hunter is
Because
lonely.
you know, they're from animation, which is quite low down compared to the rest of everything that I like, but they are very cool, and I do like the show. So, but this is the way for me to do it.
Yep.
If you're going to do it, I
Well,
wouldn't
it's
want.
almost
I
a
wouldn't want to be
figure
getting.
pack, isn't it?
Yeah,
We talked
exactly.
about
Yeah,
bringing them out
exactly.
as a dream figure pack. It's almost what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to sort of put these figures in my top 25 purely for that, you know, for that reason, because as we've seen, as I say, with the Bad Batch, you know, you just never know when you're gonna get them. So
some folks had given up, like TVC Mac in here. But this, I wanted to mention, I was looking at it, and I think including these figures in the HasLab, I think between pipeline and actual reveals, I think there's like 16 spots now open. If we get all of these, that's 16 spots opened up in the
Which is
top
a lot.
64 on next year's bracket.
yeah, be an interesting
It's-
bracket next year, definitely.
That's
it's going to
16
finally be wildly different.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be the A New Hope mains probably at the top again.
Of
Well,
course,
that'd
yeah,
be
of course.
But-
16 Andor figures for me.
Yes,
If I can
and
think of 16.
yeah.
No, there's a lot of Andor figures that are going to need to go into that.
Yeah.
yeah, I would just like a couple main characters, like, you know, little Leia.
past-
and whatever.
The past 3 years in a row, I mean, they've definitely made some characters from each of the brackets every year.
And we keep
but
track. God
I
bless
feel
John.
like they're really like hammering away at them now, though. And so next year, you know, we keep seeing the Rebels characters every year. We keep, you know, there's certain characters that are just 3 years in a row, 3 for 3. They're on the bracket, but next year it's
Yeah.
going to be wildly different. So
Well,
it's going to be nice.
I mean,
to
I know
see.
without jumping ahead too far, but those pipelines, or not even the pipelines, sorry, the reveals, when you look at Revan, you look at
Thrawn, Revan,
Pre
3,
Vizsla,
all
then you
3 of
look
them
at-
knocked out.
at
Friggin'
Dooku as well.
Velkin
and you think
Taziri,
they're
Tame
all
Dun
big
Falcon,
hitters.
yeah.
Yeah, they're all
But yes.
finalists.
Count
So,
Dooku, who won March Madness, may as well just say it, everybody knows at this point. Count Dooku, who won March Madness this year, was pipeline revealed. Like, he's coming. We're getting him. That's awesome. So,
All new as well.
all new.
Yeah.
That's who, and that begets another
Pretty
thing that was
freaking
on
cool,
my
right?
list, which was the Tales of the Jedi look for Dooku and his Jedi
Yeah, that'd be
Master. 'Cause
nice.
that would only take a
Yeah.
little bit of reworking and like a new head sculpt, but whatever. Just saying.
It would be very cool. I would buy that.
Let's see. All right. Final tier. Or that we know of. Final tier, maybe.
Let's
we'll
go
see. I
for
don't
it.
know. There it is.
Very cool that
He looks great.
Kanan
But-
has the alternate heads, by the way.
Yes,
That's
yes.
super cool. But anyway,
If you listen to me, Tyler, I mentioned that, but you never
I'm sorry.
listen to me. I'm just
I'm sorry. I have to divide my attention between the comments and your
Yeah.
awesome comments.
real
so
quick.
I'm sorry.
Just I guess they do. So,
Yeah.
yes.
So just with Zeb, sorry, I was going to say, I know Tim touched on this, but he's got that smile on his face, hasn't he? So you do have to
Yeah.
wonder, a bit like Chrysanthemum at the moment, we've got those two versions out there, haven't we? We've got the one that's coming out on the main line, or deluxe, and then we've got the exclusive. And you do have to wonder if we'll see this again, but just with the different heads, so I want them both. I've got to have them both.
It sounded like, because I've been listening to all the Q&As, it sounds kind of like this head sculpt might be unique to this set.
That's what I took from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
They
like
did
that.
it with Palpatine as well, didn't they? On the
Mhm.
exclusive, one sort of smiley, smirking one, and the other one was a bit more straight faced.
Yeah.
I could see how that's perhaps all of these might go that way.
One thing that someone wanted me to mention, I think it was James something, or Jason Myers, it might have been, but they were saying that this might help to give us a Jero Tapal. Yeah, there we go. From James Andrews. That's
Fallen Order.
I don't know how much, if any, of this could be used for Jero Tapal.
If you have a look on Joel's, Radis Falls dad, I can never say his name properly, on Instagram, he put 2 pictures side by side, did it earlier today. In fact, I reposted it into my story. And when you look, they are surprisingly similar. Because obviously he's wearing a Jedi tunic over a lot of him anyway. So
Right.
when you look at his legs, they're not, what you can see of his legs looks the same. He's got a very similar chest piece that sits on. I was surprised because if you would have asked me, I'd have said, I don't know, they're quite different. But when you look at that, it's not a million miles off.
But when they're discussing who they're going to make, they think about all this stuff, don't they? They must, they have to.
Hopefully.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, like,
Let's
what
hope
can we
so,
use
yeah.
that for the future? If we do this, we can do that. It's obvious
Yeah.
for things like clones. Oh, we could just repaint them 100 times for all the different battalions and what
Yeah.
have you. But when it comes to like these characters, you just got to be a bit more sort of creative in how you reuse them.
Yeah.
Whoa, Thrawn and Revan already sold out on UK Pulse. That's great.
What?
Yeah, that's good.
Dang,
That
dude.
is great.
That's awesome.
Bantha Skull just put out an article the other day about how Death Star 2 Vader was #1 for action figures on Amazon. So hopefully we can repeat that with Thrawn or Revan or somebody.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That's sorry, going that Revan, just going back to, I know we talk about March Madness and how well he did how well he has done every year. But just when I was going through the SWTVC posts today, and you look at, it's always a good gauge when we post, the reveals. It's always a good gauge to see how many likes each post gets. And that Revan has smashed it, even compared to Thrawn, he has got some serious likes behind him. And so the people have been waiting for that figure for a long while.
Yeah, it's 5 years of, annoyance, isn't it? Really,
He's a sleeper. Every year, people are like, "I can't believe he's doing so well on March Madness." I'm like, he's a tremendously popular character.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
maybe like
tremendously popular.
next to Thrawn, one of the most popular EU
Yes.
characters. Like, wow.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep. That is
What a figure, though, man. And
glorious.
it's funny because obviously I've been talking so much about Thrawn, and I haven't even talked about these other ones, but it's just like, we're getting Grand Inquisitor, we're getting Revan, we're getting all those are just, they're all just, Krennic is coming up soon too. Like, man, what a year. What a year for the
that
vintage
looks
collection.
so good. That looks so
Those
good.
Finally getting those villains in the line.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yes.
Tim, you got to update your video.
And Dooku
know,
too. Yeah.
But it was a fact, wasn't it? When you looked at the line,
None.
it was a fact. You're missing these key bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big time.
Yep. And then speaking of
And
Thrawn,
I always thought bad guys sell. It's like,
yeah, the rule of cool, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So Thrawn, are there new legs on this guy? Is that what it is, Tyler?
Yes. So, for anybody wondering, because those who have a keen attention to detail know that Thrawn is a fairly tall fella, right? So, people were wondering whether Thrawn was going to be just the same size as Piet, because personally, I was like, I think this is just going to be Piet, but with a new torso and a new head. That's what I was expecting.
Just paint him
Right?
blue.
Okay, and the belt and holster, right? Like, I was like, that's what we can expect for this. But I reached out to Emily because some people were saying that they thought that that he looked taller, and I was like, maybe he does. So I reached out to her and I said, how much of this is new tooling? And she said that the upper legs are not the same as Piet. So he is going to be taller than Piet, which is great because he's
I
tall.
was gonna say, aren't the Imperial officers a bit more flary? They baggy out a little bit more, don't they?
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
And then
Those
this
are a
is-
little bit more close to the leg. Yeah.
This is an easy jump to the live action version. It's just a different head because at least
Yes.
his costume looks identical
It does.
as
So-
from what we can gather.
I've seen a lot of people being like, "Oh, I wish it was Lars," or "It's stupid that they didn't do Lars," or like, patience.
We better
Patience.
get both.
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Patience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That
a
was
literal the uniform, like Evans just said, is exactly the same. So a Lars Mikkelsen Thrawn is as easy as new head, new card back, boom, done. There's just like zero chance that's not going to happen. So I'm very confident that we'll see that in the vintage collection at some point, probably soon. And then somebody else mentioned they want to see his EU version with his epaulets, his like naval,
Yeah.
the drapey things on his shoulder, for lack of a better way of putting it. I would love to see that on an Heir to the Empire card. That would just be like Chef's kiss.
For more on that, we have a whole episode about publishing greats. That's a little pet project of mine that, yep. So speaking of greats, previous
Man, can we talk about how
Almost no
much better
spoiler.
this
Yeah.
came out
I
than
was
the
just
Black
going to
Series
say
one?
that looks so much better than the Black Series one.
This is incredible, guys.
I did mention that to somebody that collects the Black Series, and they said that the pre-Vizsla's base, the body is Django Fett from a couple of years ago or something.
on the Black
Yeah.
Series one, from a couple
It's
of
not
years ago,
just-
from
it's not-
2016.
Well, there you go. So it's not just the head, is it? That's
Yeah.
better. It's
But even the face sculpt on their one is just wrong. I'm not quite sure what they've done
Wow.
with the Black Series, but yeah.
Someone just mentioned the Dark Saber paint. I wonder if it is going to have those little flickers. And did anybody get a good look at the figure on the shelf at SDCC to see if the lightsaber was painted like that? Because when you look at like Gideon's, for example, right?
It's just
I
kind
have
of
it- I
flat.
have
with
his-
the-
Dark Saber. Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's just
Where
a
am I at here?
stripe, isn't it?
yeah,
stripe.
There's
around
no
it.
like sort of flickering
yeah.
effects in it. But
Yeah, that's a good point.
that would be cool if they painted it like that.
I don't think he should be swinging it over his shoulder like that, though.
No,
Take his head off.
yeah, it's a little irresponsible. It's a lightsaber, guys. I know Beskar, but like, there's a rocket right there too, Doug.
Yeah.
And that's a removable helmet, right? So
Yes, but he's bald,
the-
so
yeah, so that might be okay. Yeah,
yeah. I think it doesn't look too ridiculous.
yeah, that looks
Dark-
all right. Yeah.
Darth Wizzy Wizard says apparently Hasbro is stopping the Black Series in 2025, phasing the line out.
Well, that's sad. Anyway,
You got any evidence to back that up? Because I would love to see it. DM me, man.
I'll just say I picked a good time to get out last year then. So
Yeah, you sure did.
God, look at that. And worth noting too, going back to March Madness, Pre-Vizsla almost upset the whole thing.
He is such an
Was it last
awesome
year? Was it
looking
last
character.
year? Yeah. So-
Man, what a cool looking Mando, though, right?
It looks
I mean,
cool as anything, doesn't it?
That's
It's
freaking
really good.
cool. He's just awesome.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to display him with Mandalore Maul in some fight scenes.
Yes.
I cannot wait for that.
Like
That
I
is-
got super pissed at him last year because he like upset the whole bracket.
yeah.
But but he's a really cool character though. Let's be honest.
man. I'm always happy to see them. I careful what you wish for with like clones where I got sick of the ARC troopers after like the first 20, but the Mandalorians, like the tooling on these is so good. It's such a good sculpt. There's so many cool varieties that they can make with these guys. I'm here for whatever ones they do. And it gives me hope for the pipelined Axe Woves update that they said is confirmed is based on season 3 with some updates,
Yeah.
because he does have some different armor.
I really hope
Armor
they
is
fix
slightly
that
different,
helmet.
Yeah, I
really
hope they
fix
fix
that
the helmet, but
if they don't, it's going to be a disaster.
it'll
Well,
look like
I think they have to, Lewis, because the amount of they got a lot of backlash about that.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah.
Because they didn't make
although-
it easy. They didn't make it good for themselves because the other two in the gang of 3 did have the swappable
Well,
heads, and then
Even the
and then
promo
also the
shot.
press. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So they
But
So I'm
changed
not sure
it.
what happened there.
real quick, did they learn?
No.
Well, I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
horrible. Incredible
it's-
figure. Incredible figure.
Yeah.
But what is this?
Yeah.
What is that helmet?
Small petite body makes it even worse.
Is that the 6-inch
Yeah.
helmet on her head? I don't know.
So we have a Q&A coming up with Hasbro soon, and we're gonna try to
The size of her torso.
to push them towards, let's just do swappable heads from now on instead of removable helmets, because you keep messing this up.
And especially she's $28 because she's in the deluxe thing. Not up for pre-order today. They said the Ahsoka things were probably starting August 10th. Is that what they said?
10th, yeah.
Okay, so that's presumably when they're going to start doing like the weekly media rollout that they do.
I would think so. Yeah.
And that's when the Ahsoka that we skipped, I'll go back up to that, but there's nothing new there. Here's the Lothcat I was talking about. Is that the same as the one in Ezra?
I suspect it probably is.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go back up to that right now. Here's the different lightsaber I was talking about. But look, that is an incredible figure, let down by that, but we're paying so much money. It's like, include the swappable head. Like that should be in there instead of whatever this is for the helmet. Because this figure is awesome, dude. And I love she has the spray gun for her paint. Like, So
Oh, that's
good.
cool.
It's
Wow.
Are those
so
both
good.
are those Bo-Katan's legs? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Are they?
Definitely, I reckon they're
no,
from the knee up. I think they are. I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
There's got to be some use in there,
Yeah,
surely. Like
gotta
the
be.
holsters and
Yeah, man.
Hmm.
Minus that helmet, though, this figure is rad.
Yeah, they've dropped the
Phenomenal.
ball there. Like,
And
I've
she
had
has
I've
hair.
had a lot of comments on my, the Instagram posts. You put them up with all the glam images. The helmet of this figure got the most comments
Yeah.
out of anything. I think.
This was absolutely the wrong call, just as it was the wrong call for Axe. I know they've tried to make excuses for it, but this is not. They can't. I don't buy it. That's not
No.
the right call, man.
Swappable heads going
It'd
forward.
be interesting to see how she looks next to Bo-Katan or Cosca Reeves. If it's going to look that much bigger, it's just going to look ridiculous.
Well, somebody mentioned, so everybody was saying that Bo-Katan's helmet is too small. So
Yeah.
and that was a swappable head, right?
Yeah.
So people were saying that, oh, they just course corrected too much in the opposite direction,
Yeah.
and now we have an oversized helmet.
But she still
So-
looked fairly proportionally correct, at least.
Yeah,
Bo-Katan
when
is.
you look at Din Djarin from, say, the VC 177, build-up pack, right? He had a swappable head. He had his Pedro head, and then he had his helmet head.
Mhm.
And the helmet
Yeah.
head was fine. It was
Mhm.
perfectly proportionate. So it's not impossible to do this. It's not.
I think
hard.
some people
It's
out there
gonna-
think that the female Mandalorians are on the small side anyway. Don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Into the whole thing,
True,
they're quite
yeah.
small.
Yeah.
So naturally, the helmet will be smaller as well. But
Yeah.
I
That's
just don't understand how that can pass any type of.
no.
you
This
know,
look at
that
that.
looks great. Let's go with that. You know.
Whatever. Yeah. Happy beeps, guys. I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy about stuff. So,
That-
that.
That is the only negative thing really about anything that was
Yeah.
officially.
I have one
shown.
other very small nitpick, but we'll get to it. It's a very minor nitpick.
Is
but
it with
I'm-
the Imperials?
It is.
We'll get to
It
that in
is.
one sec. Just to
Yeah.
cover this real quick. Look, a straight repack. I don't think there's anything new about this whatsoever,
Slight
other than the
slight
cards.
nitpick with that one too is they still are not including the hilts.
Yeah, I
The,
mentioned it.
the unlit hilt. Yeah, I remember you mentioned it, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
worth bringing up again. Like,
Yeah,
you could have at
So-
least added that.
and they could. I would have liked them to do slightly longer Leku or Montrals on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Out of interest, as carded guys, do you like the fact though that they've put it on a new card and a new, is that because again, it's something that doesn't bother me at all.
Short
But-
answer: yes, I
I
love
think
it.
I think they've got to because she's the main. That's the thing. They've got to because she's the main
Yeah.
character.
Mhm.
But I think
They should have included something.
it's space on my wall that I don't have for the same figure. Essentially,
Also, real quick, check out. I'm sorry. What's this?
oh,
Yeah, whoopsie doops.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh my.
And this isn't a digital render. That's the actual thing.
Oh, John is gonna have an aneurysm when he sees
I'm
that.
having an aneurysm. That's why I pointed it out. This is upsetting. I hope that's just an error on this sample here.
Hmm.
That would be a shame if I had to buy her again to get a fixed version.
it's a variant.
Yeah.
And you will too, won't you?
They're worth thousands.
Yeah, I'm totally not the guy that bought Hauser again.
Oh my god.
Let's see.
Wow. 133 on the stream now. Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. Thanks, guys.
I hope everyone is
John.
backed.
Yep, everybody picked the right time to tune in. We're talking about Life Day Chewy and only Life Day Chewy. John, we talk about him a lot at the Vintage Concepts. Wonderful guy. I'm happy that this is happening for him. He's been really wanting this for quite some time. So looks great to me. I'm happy that we're getting it. Fun to note, it does not have a VC number.
Which means that you can skip it if you absolutely hate it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is if they confirm that it's not going to have a VC number. If they confirm
I spotted on the back of people's photos that there was no VC number and it
Oh,
wasn't
right.
covered up or anything. It was just a blank spot, which would make it the first regular carded TVC figure to not have a VC number or something like that. Like the HasLabs also have like their Has numbering. Carbonized are the only other figures that have a traditional look, even though they're gross, and they don't have VC numbers. So this will be the only normal figure that doesn't have the VC numbers.
Unless before it comes out, they put the VC 300 on it. You never know.
Which, well, wait a sec, though. They did hint, though, that VC 300 was not something we knew about already. It may or may not be, but I would laugh real hard if this was 300.
Is that
Oh
the
my
head?
God.
Is it the head from the one that came with the Falcon?
It's a new, is it new head? Or no, it's the
does look
Falcon
like
head.
the Falcon one. Yeah,
It's the Falcon head and new hands.
New hand, yeah.
to hold that globe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say this, that as it's kind of a little bit, you know,
It's a niche item.
kitsch, you know, but it's better than all that stuff that they revealed for the Black Series, because at least this is a proper holiday. It's tied into Star Wars. You know, it's still Star Wars, so it's a holiday figure, but it works. You know, when you're getting to the point when you're taking snowtroopers and painting them with carrots on their noses to look like snowmen, you know, that is something that I never want to see in TVC at all. So this I'll take.
And because it's not numbered and it's a Shop Disney exclusive stroke Disney parks, it's all linked to, they celebrate Life Day and Galaxy's Edge or whatever. Because somebody in my comments of Instagram said, "Oh, why are they even doing this?" I said, "Well, you know, because it's a Shop Disney exclusive. You don't have to buy this. You know, this is not affecting anything. You know, it's not taking a slot of anything else." And a lot of people might pass on this, but it doesn't matter because it's not as if you can just, you know, order it on Entertainment Earth or whatever. It's a Shop Disney thing. It's like, it's almost separate, really.
Yeah.
And they've shown that if they're not giving it a VC number, they're almost sort of like removing it from that, you know, something they should have done for those mini cards, for example, that came with the SDCC. You know?
Yeah. So, Chewie, Revan, and let's see what else we got here. Oh, real quick, let's talk about this, though. Speaking of the back of the numbers with the VC numbers, they're going back to the 1.0 style sort of thing. It's definitely not to prevent card back leaks at future conventions, totally.
Yeah.
I really like this, and I also like that they're now showing us the back of the cards so that we can now officially hold them accountable for their inability to keep track of VC numbers. That's a whole
But it used
thing.
to be that they showed you the figure that was first made of that character.
That's what I was wondering. So this is a debut. However, with Revan, they did not show a photo of, and they did get it wrong in 1.0 a couple times, I noticed.
Well, pre-Vizsla was a Clone Wars. Excuse me, Winnie. We've had pre-Vizsla before, haven't we?
But not this version of pre-Vizsla, technically.
No.
So whatever. But I would think that would be nice to further flesh out the history that comes with the vintage collection. So I don't know. I was hoping to maybe ask them something about that. If they've thought about that at all, if that's even important. I'm sure it's probably not to most of the people watching, but it's important to me, damn it.
Somebody asked earlier if you could put the cape from his season 2 appearance. He doesn't wear the cape at all in season 5, right?
No, his later look doesn't have the cape.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing's stopping you from putting a cape on it if you want.
It just technically wouldn't be.
It wouldn't.
Accurate.
Yeah, it wouldn't be accurate to either look. So, but I mean, again, with all the Mandalorians and stuff that they could do, I mean, if they did another pre-Vizsla, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I don't think they really need to too bad. At least it shouldn't be a priority in my opinion, but they could do it.
Yeah.
It's all there now. So anyway, sorry, got sidetracked on that, but I do like this. This is very nice.
Imperial I'm going to be interested to see what Tyler says about this now, because I know I have got something about these that I noticed, but I want to see if it's the same thing.
Let's get to. By the way, I love this. I love.
Yeah.
That's such a nice detail. I'm glad that they had fun with that. That's good.
Yeah, I do love that.
Yeah.
Are the rank badges colored in?
Yes.
Because you know they have a little bit of color on each of the boxes. Okay.
Looks like it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. And looks like we've got 1 3/3 in here.
Yep. So you got one captain.
Yep.
Not admiral.
Yep.
And then you've got Admiral Piet and Admiral Mahdi, who have completely different rank badges because Star Wars.
Mhm.
Just
And
go
then
with it.
yeah.
But that's
So
what they look. That's what they look like in the material. In the
it's
source
true.
material.
It's
Yeah.
true. I
Yeah,
know. I
yeah.
know. It's true. It's true. It's just, and even in Star Wars, there are different types of admirals. There's vice admirals and grand admirals. So it's maybe they just cut his title short, because some people still call Thrawn Admiral Thrawn sometimes, even though he's a grand admiral. So
It's almost like it's all made up.
yeah. I mean, he's trying to trigger me right now. It's not going to work, Evan. It's not going to work. No. No. So I love this set. I'm pretty thrilled about it. I really am. However, I do think I'm a little. I love that they included the ISB officer. I really do love that, and I want to talk about him more in a second here. But I do feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity to not include a black uniformed Imperial officer, and I would have switched out that captain there, second from the right.
Yeah.
I would have just taken him out, because we already have two of those with Jared and Captain Piet, Admiral Piet, whatever. I would have swapped him out with a black tunicked Imperial officer. So 2 grays, a black, and a white. That's what I would have gone for.
Just to give you that different body. Yeah, it makes sense. I
Yeah.
guess.
There's so many different color combos and rank badge combos and even code cylinder combos that I feel like they could even do a second set of these with different
100%.
colors and
Yeah.
different combos. And I don't know. I'd be down for that, honestly, myself.
Yeah.
I like the fact that obviously, if you look at the ISB, look at his trousers, completely different to Thrawn's. They're
Mhm.
they're much baggier.
Yeah.
But the top body is Thrawn's, isn't it? Because of
It's
the
not.
holster. Oh, is it not?
Well, okay. So sorry. So
So
the bottom piece where his
Yeah, the
holster
tunic,
is
the skirt and
From the belt.
actually, I don't think
Yeah.
that's the same, because it's a different pistol. It might actually be a different. I
Right.
don't know if they're using
Yeah,
the
it could
same
be, yeah.
holster or not, but that's probably the same. But I know the upper torso is different because he doesn't have the little
Yeah.
collar pieces or the bars.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Or all that.
But that's what I mean. It's like, we thought like new officer sculpt, they'll just do a bunch of officers, but even like the different code cylinders, and there's they're messing around with that sculpt quite
And
a lot, aren't they?
Chris
Yeah.
did say, didn't he, on one of the Q&As, I don't know if it was a John Miko one or the Imperial communique, but he was saying that they have actually tooled up a new chest, haven't they, a new torso. So yeah, like you say, Tim, they've not just rolled out the same one. It's literally
No.
new tooling.
Yeah. Can you just zoom in, Evan, on Piet?
I can. Maybe.
I'm thrilled that they put out this version of the correct version of Piet. However, I really think that Piet and Mahdi should be on their own cards.
I agree as a carded collector, but at the same time, I'm not too heartbroken about it.
Just a couple of questions for Tyler, because he's the nerd about this sort of things. First of all, that head looks a bit, I don't know, it might just be the images. It looks a bit different to the one, the carded version. But the cylinders, didn't Piet have one cylinder?
As a captain, he did.
Right.
When he's,
So have they got
admiral.
that right? Now he's got the correct rank badge. He has got the correct cylinder as well. Yeah.
So in ESB, he has 2 on the left side
Which they've done, haven't they?
and 1 on the right side. So yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
So,
and if you look at
great job, Hasbro.
Jajerod,
And then if you look at the
Jajerod, he's got 1 on each side, haven't they?
Evan,
Is it
scroll
all-
over to the. Yes, I believe you're correct, Tim.
So
yeah.
this is what I mean. They've messed around with this figure
Yeah.
quite a lot to get the
Evan, if you go over to the ISB officer real quick, can you zoom in on him, on his
Enhance.
chest?
Enhance.
So
they're
so
unpainted.
So that's
It's
not
not
the
there.
same as Piet, because he's only got 1 on the side of
Yeah.
his rank badge, right?
yeah.
So
That's what I
even though it's it's a 6/6, it's not the same torso.
And then if you go to the guy, the one next to him, he's
So
got
3/3.
1 with nothing.
Yep.
And 1
That's
here.
what I mean. Like, it's these small differences. I think it's pretty cool that they've mixed it up a bit.
So fun fact for everyone who's played Battlefront 2, the campaign of Battlefront 2, Iden Versio's father, Admiral Versio, if you could just go back to the ISB officer real quick, Evan. You don't have to zoom in all the way. I'm just saying. Admiral Versio has this exact uniform down to the code cylinders. He just has a different head. So if you're trying to make Admiral Versio from Battlefront 2,
Could be
that's your
easy,
guy.
easy gaming great. Hey, how many?
Yes,
That's an
yes.
Yeah.
What does Krennic have?
Krennic has
wise?
two on both sides.
Okay, so they would have to do. So it'd be a different torso. Or different.
I love the
torso
way
type.
Tyler's got it memorized. Like,
You friggin' nerd, Tyler.
I don't even notice these cylinders in the film. I'm just watching it, you know.
Yeah, he's like Thrawn. Thrawn has two on both sides as well.
One thing, just picking up in the chat there, a few people have mentioned. I think this has been thrown around a lot today, but Patrick had said something about swappable hats, and I think because it wasn't very clear when he said it, and because I think a lot of people picked up on swappable heads, and so I think there was this thing that is it coming with extra heads? But I'm pretty sure that's been confirmed somewhere around that it was actually swappable hats he was talking about. I'm not quite sure if he's thinking you might put a black hat on a grey guy, or I don't know. I'm not quite sure what he was getting at anyway, but that's what he meant.
Cool. All right.
But going back to you saying not having the black uniformed officer, I think the ones in Return of the Jedi, this is supposed to be a 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi set, but that's what they marketed it as, isn't it? It's a bit strange.
Yeah.
But I think the guy, they've got a different belt again. They've got like pouches either side of the buckle.
Oh, the little yeah.
I don't know whether they've got that in A New Hope or not. The ones in black.
He does. Somebody brought this. I think it was Quentin Lambert, the True Q-Tip on Instagram. He said that Mahdi. He sent me a screenshot of Mahdi, and Mahdi's supposed to have those little silver boxes on his belt.
Oh, right. Even with okay.
Unfortunately, Mahdi is slightly inaccurate, but
well.
Trash.
I think it's too.
Send it back. Send it back. We don't want it.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
Real quick, do we want to chat about the pipeline? I don't have the image up for pipeline. Or do we want to go back to any of these while I have it up?
Yeah, I think that these should, the named characters, as we've said before, should be on card backs. I'm really appreciative that they put out Admiral Piet and Admiral Mahdi. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fantastic that we have these, but they've got to stop putting named characters in packs that are supposed to be generics, like Army Builder. Those
It's
should be
kind
on
of
cards.
Kind of a
They've
damned
lost
if you
their
do,
way,
damned
haven't
if you
they, with
don't.
those?
But yeah.
Yeah. I can see though, would they want to bring out another Piet, just because of that? I know you'd love it, Tyler, but just because of that rank badge on a different card, does it feel enough of an interesting figure to put out there again? For
Probably
people?
not. So be thankful, Tyler, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I'm
come on,
sorry.
man.
I'm sorry. I hope they put out. It'd be nice if they put out the rest of the officers from the conference room scene in like some kind of pack. Like because they did a 7-pack for the
modal
cantina.
nodes.
I don't know where my damn box is, but if they did like a 7-pack with General Tag and Yularen and all those, that would be awesome.
They can, again, this is maybe the highest mileage sculpt they can get. Well,
Keep
not
them
by itself because
coming.
it's all the different parts, but all the mix and match possibilities that they have is love that, man. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, man.
So,
Keep them coming.
One of the things I was gutted about the stream is that we didn't get to see Krennic. I really wanted to see Krennic.
right. Well, you're kind of getting to see what he might look like.
Yeah, but I want to
approximately
know
or
about
something.
how they're going to do the cape soft goods.
Yeah.
Is this going to be like the first
yeah.
Gideon where it like drapes because he's got that sort of collar bit on it.
Yeah.
So soft goods might not work. I want to see how they do it.
At
Yeah, I'm
least
excited.
if you end up absolutely hating the soft goods, you can always pop the one off the 5p away version and use that. But it's plastic. But I mean, at least you have an alternative is all I'm saying. But yeah, I would like it to be soft goods. I'm hoping they can do that right. We'll see.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty excited. Well, speaking of Krennic, he's still in the pipeline. He is the second oldest thing in the pipeline right now. He was announced, or he was pipelined, April 8th at Celebration. And then there's only one thing older than him in the pipeline right now, and it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader dual 2-pack. That was pipelined on February 1st. I screwed up. I said publicly that was the thing I was most excited for. And so Hasbro saw that and thought, we're never going to show him that ever. I think the soonest I can hope to see that, is PulseCon, which will then put it at about 8 months after it was revealed.
I can't believe that was February. That's amazing. Is that long ago?
Oh, I felt every day, every single day. So at Comic-Con, they added 8 to the pipeline. We've talked about them a little bit throughout the stream. Axe Woes from Season 3, Mandalorian Fleet Commander, Din Djarin from Season 3, Grogu from Season 3, Finn from The Force Awakens, Cassian Andor photoreal reissue, I guess, Phase 1 Clone Trooper, and Count Dooku. So overall, I'm pretty stoked about most of those. They're not earth-shattering.
Patrick even said, that's why we left Dooku till last. It's almost like they're embarrassed about the others. Like,
well, the Mandalorian who was flying the ship, I can't even know what they called him now. What did they call him?
The Fleet Commander.
Fleet Commander, yeah. When he came out in Black Series, a lot of people were saying, we want that in TVC as well. So I'm not going to knock that because I'll take that. I'm quite happy to
balancing
get that.
The scales.
Sure. But I think there are some there where you kind of think, really, did we need another one of those? I don't know. See what they come out like when they throw them out.
Yeah,
I definitely don't need another Grogu.
Wow, he's got a new pram though.
Yeah.
I was mentioning this to the guys before the stream. As far as Din Djarin, everyone's like, "Oh my god, why do we need another Din Djarin?" The only reason I could see them why they're putting that out is maybe he's going to have all these different, shields and batons and all this stuff that he was using in the Season 3 finale when he's going down the hallway with all the super commandos and he's like,
but then
like in a video game,
pipeline a Gideon or a Praetorian Guard to make it more exciting,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I mean, Mando could do with a bit of an articulation upgrade. To be fair,
they keep slowly refining with each release.
But he isn't quite there to what we've got with some of the other Mandos, and it may just be they're trying to bring him up, up to speed. He may get some new bits.
Yep. So I'm just going to throw this back up there, though, as we start to. Are we winding down? Is there anything else we want to chat about? I know it's late for a couple of you guys.
Well, we wanted to talk about Finn, didn't we, Evan?
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, HasLab.
He's trying so hard to
know that I love you guys, and I know that it's not returned, but I got it. Yes, don't worry, I wasn't super blown away by that Finn either, especially if it's just the same figure from 2015. I
hope not.
At the bare minimum, put the 5POA photoreal head on that figure and update the hips and pack him with the lightsaber. Otherwise, no deal. So
if it is the Rise of Skywalker one, if they show the wrong image or whatever,
which is not outside the realm of possibility, they show incorrect images all the time. So.
Yes. So we're gonna ask Hasbro probably in our Q&A to clarify which version of Finn it is. I assume, right, Evan? Probably.
Yes, I will ask that for all 4 people out there that care. So,
Rise of Skywalker was on my top 25. I'll let you know.
Yeah, he was
on the bracket,
63 or 64, like barely hanging on to staying in the tournament, right?
I definitely didn't ask for the Force Awakens one to be repacked, though. That's a little bit too far. It's just random. It's really random to throw that out there.
It to me that feels just like a malicious compliance. Like, oh, you think we should try the sequels again? Well, let's just go ahead and sabotage this one right out the gate. Obviously, you don't want sequels. Finn repack was ruining everything. Great, awesome. I could rant for days. I'm not going to. I'm untethered, and my rage knows no bounds.
Well, they're not going to spend. They're not going to spend tooling dollars on him, are they?
And they are not. So, boo. But speaking of boo, the ghost. Get the ghost. Get the ghost.
What's the scores on the doors for the ghost at the moment?
Let's see. We are at 60-61 backers.
So I was just going to say about Finn, if it is the version that was on the bracket, it's a good thing because they're knocking out a character that was on the bracket, right? And everybody knows that there's no Finn in the vintage collection, and there needs to be a Finn in the vintage collection. I get that. I support that 100%. but there has not been any sequel figures in the vintage collection in 4 years since the Rise of Skywalker, and I'm just a little bit leery that they're dipping their toes back into the sequel trilogy with a character that might perform horribly at retail, and I just feel like that's going to destroy any opportunity to get other sequel figures.
And
anytime soon.
that's exactly why I'm frustrated and why it felt a little self-sabotagey. So
It's like, why would you do that? Why would you not put out like Supreme Leader Kylo or Palpatine or anything else? Literally anything else. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I personally hope that if the Ghost is a smashing success and continues to send a message of, invest in TVC, Hasbro, we're here for stuff. Like when you put out new figures, let's expand the tooling library. It's not just OT, it's all media. I'm glad they're dipping their toes in a lot of it. I hope this kind of can be a bit of a kick in the behind for them to sort of move things along and be a little more comfortable going outside their comfort zone to make things that they might not have thought were the super obvious stuff. So
100%. And if this campaign is a smashing success, once again, I mean, it's like how many times do we have to do this for Hasbro to, take a hint that this line deserves more tooling and investment? I just how many times do we got to do this?
But happy beeps, man. Look at this. Look at it. Look at it.
I'm jealous I wasn't there to actually see it.
Oh, I would.
I think to have seen that, those people are pretty lucky.
Yeah,
we got a long wait.
We do. Wow. So cool. Well, anything else as we wrap this up?
Any thoughts about anything else? No.
I have no thoughts about anything anymore. I just know, get the Ghost. If this thing hits as soon as this thing hits 8,000, I'm just going to say this live. It hits 8,000. I'm ordering like 50 stickers that say "Got the Ghost," and I will just give them away to people who message me, the first few people that want them, because I want to celebrate this thing. I am so excited about this HasLab, guys. So
Absolutely.
I hope we cross I hope we smash through all the tiers. I hope this thing just performs great. I cannot wait to add it to my collection. I'm really encouraged and kind of energized by the amount of positivity and, positive discourse that's been surrounding this a lot more, and just the energy in the community around this has been incredible. It's been nice. I know there's plenty of things to be down in the dumps about. There's plenty of things we can nitpick about or, complain about outside of the Ghost, whatever, with the line, but just this was a shot in the arm I needed. It's incredible. This collector is quite happy, and I really hope I get to add it to my collection with all those figures.
Yes, I'm overjoyed. I'm seeing a comment here that from David Stevens. You guys are so quiet. You should be buzzing. I have been buzzing for the past 24 hours. I'm tired. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was buzzing yesterday, but very little sleep. Yeah, it's the same. I think all of us are just a bit come down, from everything yesterday. But
yeah,
we are excited. Totally.
I've been watching this, HasLab ticker like I'm addicted to it. Oh,
yeah.
God. Evan, your meme was perfect.
That was your meme. Yeah, Evan's meme. It was exactly that.
Yeah,
thinking about other women.
It was just a little under. So we've been live streaming for an hour and 28 minutes, and it got just under 100 backers in that time.
Chugging along.
Progress is slow, but honestly, it's still doing really well. I'm
still
loving
moving.
Not popping the champagne yet, but just.
But again, I know we've said this before. If anyone is sitting on the fence, just thinking, I'm going to hold off and just see where it goes, don't. Just back it now. There's no reason to wait. There's no advantage. I've seen some people sort of saying, well, if we hold out a bit, we might be able to get a bit more out of Hasbro, and that didn't work for the Black Series. It didn't work. The Rancor fouled.
Yeah.
People say, oh, yeah, they held out and they got Malakili. Well, they didn't. They got nothing. They didn't
Yeah.
get anything.
Yeah,
And,
they
you
got
know,
nothing. Exactly.
The key, when you look at the crest, we were blowing through things so quickly that, in fact, we were hitting tiers before they could release things.
Mhm.
And so
We had to wait days.
I think so. You say in theory they actually gave us some more stuff, and you know there was some sort of speculation. Well, Miko asked, didn't he? John Miko asked, "Is there a chance there could be more?" And they weren't ruling it out. So I would much rather us blow through it, you know, and get more through positivity rather than get more through negativity and trying to play Russian roulette with this thing. You know, that's not the way to do it. Let's show them, let's show them how positive we are. Let's show them we can back this and we can keep going.
Yep.
And then let them throw in something else, you know.
Yeah, maybe they'll complete the mural. Who knows?
Yeah.
It is Russian roulette as well, because as you mentioned about the Rancor failing, I think a lot of people thought maybe it would have got extended, like because they
even on the
extended
last day.
They extended one of the Transformers ones, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
To try and get that over the line. So
the problem that it has as well is that if you're sitting on that backing line and there's a lot of people in there who might say, well, actually, this is only worth it if all of that stuff's included. It's a bit like the Jurassic Park one that's going on at the moment. I don't know if it's finished yet, but it's at that point where it's almost backed. But if none of that other stuff is included, people go, well, it's not worth it. So then they'll pull out again. And that's exactly what happened with the Rancor. People knew that if it was just going to get over that line, they were going to have to pay out for something that didn't have all the tiers. So it was totally flawed. The approach from the collectors, the way that they went at it, just was not the right way to do it. And if we want this thing, and we want it, if we want this thing, just back it. Don't play silly games.
Yeah. If you don't want it, that's fine. Don't get it.
Yeah.
But if you do want it, now's the time. So
yeah, Star Killer said the way to success is backing it strong right out the gate. And that's so true. Because the campaigns that, pass the initial, funding threshold quickly, those are the ones that end up becoming wildly successful. And those are the ones where you end up unlocking the tiers as well. And you get so much more for your money that way. But that doesn't happen if everybody says, well, I'll sit and wait. Okay, if everybody sits and waits, then the campaign makes no progress. So just back the damn thing,
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, a lot of reveals, a lot of cool stuff. Super excited. I could rave about all of this, but at some point I should probably acknowledge that my girlfriend exists in real life and say hello to my family and pet my dog, maybe feed it. I don't know. And
you
also
don't need
sleep.
a dog. You can get a ghost.
Yeah. And my dog's 14 anyway. Who cares? So it's whatever. Just kidding. I feel bad even saying that. All right. So getting the ghost. I feel like I had a thought and like tears and rain. It's gone. Let's go around the circle real quick. Tim, where can folks find you?
My YouTube channel is called Bosk's Bounty. My Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook is called Bosk's Bounty.
Everyone knows now. No one's sitting in this chat. No one's sitting in this chat.
And I was up till, I'm not going to, I don't want people to cry for me here, but I was up until like 1:30 doing my video last night. And I had to take my son to football at 7:00 this morning or 7:30 this morning. So that's maybe why I'm a bit sort of whatever, because, I'm damn tired, man.
Yeah, there we go.
We're all just tired. We're all very enthusiastic about the reveal.
Well, I'm enthusiastic about it. I loved everything that was, all the reveals were really good last night. I think, it was a good TVC win, I thought last night. So that I'm always happy about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find me on those channels. Watch my overview video if you want. It's there.
We'll put a link in there in our stories on Instagram so that folks can
Cheers, guys.
So.
Yeah, appreciate it. And I appreciate you always having me on. I love coming on these things with you guys and just talking about it. It's awesome. So thanks.
That's always a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
All right, my team members, Lewis and Tyler, you guys got anything you want to say before signing off?
Get the ghost.
Go to bed.
Yep. Go to bed.
I want to wake up tomorrow morning and see this thing backed. So yeah.
Same.
That would be great.
Let's do this. All righty, gang. Well, hey, that does it for another at SWTVC live stream. As always, keep 375 alive, get the ghost, and may the force be with you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers.